What is happening, guys? My name is Jamie, and you know what? It is time again for the albums I've explored for this month. October has been a great month to explore new albums, to old albums as well. But you know what? I had such a fun time discovering new bands, new music that I really want to share with you guys. Some of these bands, some of these albums were just fantastic. Plenty of 9s, plenty of 8s, maybe a 10 as well. If you haven't seen albums I explored in August, September, it's basically speedy reviews of the albums I have discovered during the time period of that month. And you know what, I'm pretty excited because there are so many bands that I did check out this month that I need to really share with you. All the album links will be in the description below so you guys can check out the albums as well. But you know what, guys, let's get on with these speedy reviews. So the first album I checked out for October was the band Detest and their album The Sound of Perseverance. I love this album. I just love how proggy it is. It's a fantastic album. Chuck's vocals are just exceptional. The guitar solos on this is fantastic. It's a proggy death metal album. I just love how proggy this album is. Spirit Crusher is such an amazing song, along with Scavenger of Human Sorrow. Gotta say, Flesh and Power It Holds is such a powerful song. But Spirit Crusher is just one of the best death songs I've heard. To conclude the album, you got The Moment of Clarity, which is just such a beautiful conclusion to an album, in my opinion. I really love this album. I've listened to this album countless times this month. And I gotta say this album really grows on you. The Scavenger of Human Sorrow is just one song that just kicks off this album. This album is such full of surprises. Detest's The Sound of Perseverance gets a solid 9 out of 10. One of my favorite Detest albums. The next band I checked out was Ghost and the album Prequelle. This was their last album they released back in 2018, I think. And you know what? It's such a solid release. It's a solid release, and I loved it. I just loved the epilogue of this album, Ashes, really gives you a perspective of what this album's about. Maybe this is all about the Black Death. Just to bleed on to the next song, which is Rats, which is one of the best Ghost songs in my opinion. Absolutely loved it. Love how he rolls his R's. Rats! That's absolutely awesome. You have Faith as well, which is such a stellar song in my opinion. I really love the overall chorus, the soaring chorus. And then you got this amazing song called Dance Macabre. Is such a catchy 70 vibe song. Really did enjoy this song. Probably one of my favorite songs off the album was Witch Image. One of the best Ghost songs in my opinion. Definitely my top 10. Absolutely love that song. And then you got this really nice drawing. Sounds a bit like Nightwish, Winter Sun, Dream Theater, all in one. Halvetis Fonster. That's an amazing song. I love the instrumental parts of Ghost as well. Just incorporates these really beautiful melodies. I think they incorporate all melodies off the album for this song. So I just love how they go back to the melodies. And to end the album is Life Eternal. What an amazing, beautiful song this is. It's such a good song. It's melodic, it's catchy, fantastic way. Just conclude the album. One of the best Ghost albums in my opinion. Absolutely loved it. I'd give this a solid 9 out of 10. So last month I finished Dream Theater. This month, oh boy, I went to James Labrie. That's right, I went to James Labrie, and the first album I checked out was Impermanent Resonance. Holy shit. All I can say is, wow, this album, I thought coming in, James Labrie would be quite ballady, quite soft, with his soft voice. It'd be soft music. Holy shit, I was completely wrong. This is a melodic death metal album, and I just absolutely love it. Harsh vocals by the drummer, Garrison I think his name is. Absolutely fantastic. I just love I love his vocals. Love his vocals. Harsh, aggressive vocals throughout some of these songs. You got these harsh vocals and got Labrie's soft vocals as well, but he can incorporate those aggressive vocals. But yeah, this is a lot heavier than Dream Theater for sure. Sure, there are some ballads. Overall, this is a really cool album. Really cool. Some of it's a bit poppy, but that's James Labrie incorporating those poppy choruses. It's quite melodic. There's a certain song structure to the songs. There are some awesome instrumentals, awesome guitar solos as well. The harsh vocals just make it so much aggressive. Agony is a fantastic song, along with Undertow and Sleight of Hand. Back on the Ground is an amazing song as well. These songs are quite short, not as long as Dream Theater songs, but I absolutely loved it. James Labrie really shone on this album. The songwriting is just fantastic. So the next album I checked out was Static Impulse by James Labrie. Okay, so this I believe is a lot heavier, and this is indeed one of my favorite albums. So in all from Permanent Resonance, I'd give this a solid 8 out of 10. Wow, okay, this is aggressive, this is heavy, and this is quite proggy as well. There are some really cool songs like One More Chime, Jekyll or Hyde. Euphoric is such a awesome song. Love the instrumental break throughout this song. And then you got these nice poppy moments as well throughout this album. This is a straight off heavy album. Another melodic death metal album. It's brutal, it's harsh, it's aggressive, and James Labrie incorporates those harsher vocals throughout some of these songs. This Is War is so damn heavy. One of the heaviest Labrie songs I've heard. It's aggressive. James Labrie and also the drummer vocalist incorporates those harsher vocals. There's even screaming vocals that you can't help but enjoy. For Static Impulse, I'd probably give this a 9 out of 10. I loved it. Okay, so the next band I checked out was Elder and their album Reflections of a Floating World. Look, this album was okay in my opinion. It was quite proggy, and at times it was quite doomy. There were sort of doom elements throughout this album. Sanctuary is a good song along with The Falling Veil. This album is a good album. It's not the best album I've heard. There are some missing potential elements, like I would like to hear some harsh vocals throughout this album. It mainly had clean vocals. I don't think it had any harsh vocals. It was sort of a rocky, doomy album. The production was okay. Overall, these songs were pretty long. You had Blind that was over 13 minutes. That was a pretty cool song. But most of these songs, there are only 6 songs on this album. Reflections of Floating World, I'd probably give this solid 7 out of 10. Okay, onto my Opeth journey. I have indeed explored all of Opeth now, and I absolutely love this band. I gotta say, Opeth have entered my top 10 favorite bands of all time. I absolutely love them. I love Michael's vocals. Michael's vocals are fantastic. I love the instrumental parts, the beautiful melodies you're getting throughout some of these songs. So the next album I checked out for Opeth was Deliverance. Oh wow, what an album this was. One of my favorite albums, I gotta say, definitely in my top 5 favorite albums for Opeth. I absolutely love it. Reef is such an amazing song. What is so good about this song? How crazy and violent guitar riffs, the bass as well, the drums are intense. It's quite melodic as well. Throughout this album, you get amazing intros and you get amazing outros as well, such as Deliverance, which is one of the best outros in my opinion. Wow, I love the Deliverance outro. I love that. And then you got A Fair Judgment. It's the overall guitar melody throughout the song, which is just so good. I love it. And then you got this really nice interlude for Absence, my friends. I love that. Love the interlude. Then leads to Master's Apprentice. Another masterpiece as a song in my opinion. Most of these songs are over 10 minutes. And to conclude it is By the Pain I See in Others, which is another stellar song. Not too sure about the conclusion though. Like there are 4 minutes of silence and you get these weird parts. But overall, Deliverance by Opeth gets a solid 10 out of 10. I loved it. This is one of my favorite Opeth albums. The next band I checked out was Septicflesh, their album Codex Omega. This was a really good album. I really did enjoy how dark and how heavy this album was. This is I could say this is technical death metal. Love the harsh, aggressive vocals throughout some of these songs. Third Testament was fantastic. Dante's Inferno was a magnificent song. Faceless Queen was a fantastic song as well. The album's quite cohesive and it's quite strong. I really love the overall guitar melodies throughout this album. Nice bass tone. The production is fantastic. Mixing is really good. It's a solid 7 out of 10. Really did enjoy it. Alright, so we checked out another James Labrie album, Elements of Persuasion. Alright, so this album is quite proggy. This album's quite proggy. It's not as heavy as the other albums I checked out. The guitar solos on this is just fantastic. Crucify is an amazing song. Alone's a magnificent song. Freaks is a really weird song. I love how James Labrie, he utilizes his vocals throughout that song Freaks. How he just goes Overall, it's a pretty good album. Smash is a fantastic song. Pretender is a good song. In Too Deep, one of the best James Labrie songs I've heard. I loved it. The lyrics overall are very strong, and to end the album is Drained. So overall, this gets another solid 9 out of 10. I loved Elements of Persuasion. The next band I checked out was Mercyful Fate. Their album, Don't Break the Faith. A good album. It was a good album. Like, King Diamond's vocals are just amazing. His falsetto is fantastic. I just feel the production isn't as good, in my opinion. You got amazing songs like Nightmare's a fantastic song, along with The Oath. I just love the overall context of this album. I don't know, it took me a while to really enjoy this album. Like, I did listen to it a few times. It's an okay album. Probably give this a solid 7 out of 10. The next album I checked out was again by Opeth, and it's Sorceress. Okay, Sorceress is a fantastic album. I love it. Sorceress is an amazing song. The Wildflowers, Willow the Wisp, I just love the build up, the anticlimactic feel throughout some of these songs. Chrysalis is an amazing song as well. And then you got Strange Blue, Era, just amazing songs. This album really flows so well together. Very well, and I absolutely love the way the album flows. I love how soft and angelic the middle part of the album is, like Sorceress 2 and the 7th Sojourn, which really sounds quite tribal. Does sound like it's from a video game or something like that, but I just love how proggy, how different this album is by Opeth. Production on the other hand, look, I don't mind the production. I love how retro this album feels. Michael's vocals are again exceptional, mostly all clean. Even the deluxe edition, such as Persephone, The Ward and Spring, amazing songs. I absolutely love this album, I really do. So with Sorceress, I'd probably give this a solid 9 out of 10. The reason why it's not getting a 10 out of 10 is probably the production. If the production was a little bit cleaner, it'd probably give it a solid 10. Alright, so the next band I checked out was Nile and their album Those Whom the Gods Detest. This is a very Egyptian-filled like album. I just love how heavy it is, how gritty it is, and how it's really quite... It's got an Egyptian intercontinental feel throughout this album. Kafir is an amazing song, along with Utterance of Crawling Dead. Those Whom the Gods Detest is a fantastic song. It's also a proggy technical death metal album as well, and it's such an enjoyable album. It is. Overall, I just feel there are some weaker songs like Hittity Dung Incantation. The Eye of Ra is okay in my opinion. This album is good. There are some repetitive moments throughout this album which just keeps the score a little bit lower. I do like it. This album does grow on you, but I'd still probably give this a solid 7 out of 10. The next band I checked out was Agalloch and their album Ashes Against the Grain. A fantastic album. This is a fantastic album. This is a black metal album, and I just love the shrieking vocals throughout this album, along with the clean vocals as well. The acoustic tone, how the grittiness guitars really are a beautiful combination for this album. Overall melody. Limbs is a beautiful song. Falling Snow is an amazing song as well. Fire Above, Ice Below, one of the best Agalloch songs I've heard. Probably the worst song on Agalloch's discography is The Grain. That song is horrible. Horrible. It's a horrible song. I hated it. I really hate it, and this is a terrible way to end the album, which was such a strong album in my opinion, and again you get the song The Grain, which just lowers it down. So what was going to be a 9 will drop to a 7, because even The Grain's about a 7 and 8 minute song, and I did not like it. It's just like weird ambient noises, weird guitar noises as well. It's horrible, I hate it. So for this album, I'll probably give this a solid 7 out of 10. Okay, so the next band I checked out was Symphony X and their album Iconoclast. Look, it's fantastic. I wanted my mate to actually really get into Symphony X, and I got him into Symphony X with this album. First time I heard this album as well, and wow, this album blew my mind. I love it. I love how proggy it is. It's so damn gritty, it's so damn heavy as well. Russell Allen's vocals are just fantastic. Iconoclast, one of the fantastic openers to the album. You got When All Is Lost, an amazing song, along with The Lord of Chaos, and then Rain and Madness. Wow. Overall, I just feel this album is a concept album as well. Maybe talking about machines taking over the world and all about technology. It's a stellar album in my opinion. I friggin' loved it. It was so good. It's great repetitive listens. Got nice guitar solos, nice bass leads throughout this album. And overall, this album just really flows. There are some slower songs. I give this a solid 8 out of 10. So the next band I checked out was Dimmu and the Spiritual Black Dimensions. Wow, this album is a hell of a lot better than the other Dimmu albums I heard, apart from Info and Darkness, which is still one of my favorite albums by them. I'm really growing to enjoy this band now. Reptile's a good song. Dreamside Dominions is a good song as well, along with Promised Future Aeons. And Arcane and Life Force Mysteria, what a fantastic way to end the album. Symphonic, black metal, really did enjoy it. Extreme metal as well, really reminds you of something like Cradle of Filth. But Cradle of Filth just do it slightly better in my opinion. I just really enjoy Dimmu Boogie's take on this album. Like, their songs are pretty catchy, they're quite melodic as well. You get some nice guitar leads throughout this album, nice guitar solos. But it's a good album in my opinion. Solid 7 out of 10. I loved it. Okay, so the next band I checked out was 1349 and their album Hellfire. We sort of had a black metal night, my mate and I. When we were listening to albums, we first had Dimmu Boogie and then we had 1349. So 1349 was an artist I randomly picked. I'm so glad I did, because this is a stellar black metal album. It's black metal and it's fantastic how heavy it is as well. His vocals are really dark and demonic and quite Satanish as well, but I love the overall proggy parts. Like, there's a song that's about 14 minutes long, and that is Hellfire, the self-titled track. I loved it. It's quite heavy, it's quite gritty. Production wise, it's quite clean. I mean, it's not blurry, it's not buzzing. You can hear it, it's clear black metal, and I love it. I really love this album. Hellfire is great. Hellfire is a great album to really relax and put your mind at ease. It's heavy, but his vocals, his shrieks, really set you in that mood. I loved it. So for 1349 Hellfire, probably give this a solid 8 out of 10. So the next album I checked out was Babymetal, their new album Metal Galaxy. Fantastic album it is. Oh yeah, so I did a full album review for Babymetal, Metal Galaxy, and there's nothing more I can say. It gets a solid 7 out of 10. It's definitely not the best Babymetal album, but I understand how good it is. Like Shanti Shanti, a great Bollywood song. Feels like it's something out of Bollywood. And they go, oh man nya nya nya, oh man nya 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 na 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 da da da. Love that song as well. It's quite catchy, but in the name of it, it's so damn tribal, so damn heavy, plus the death metal as well. Different sort of songs throughout this album. It's quite poppy, it's quite heavy, it's quite melodic. So yeah, I'd still give this a solid 7 out of 10. Alright, so the next band I checked out was again Symphony X and their album The Odyssey. The Odyssey is a fantastic 24-minute song. I did a full reaction to that. Decided to check out the entire Odyssey album, and wow, this album is fantastic. Should have ended the album with the Odyssey and not the Masquerade. Maybe had the Masquerade and then you have the Odyssey. But I understand what they were doing. Accolade 2 is an amazing song. Did a full reaction to that as well. Incantations of the Apprentice, again a fantastic song. Wicked is an amazing song. The Awakenings is a good song as well. Like, these guitar solos are amazing, quite proggy, elements of progressive metal. This is a really strong progressive metal album. Love also the symphonic elements you're getting throughout this album as well. Gets a solid 9 out of 10. I loved it. The Odyssey, great album. So the next band I checked out was Edge of Sanity and their album Crimson. Now I believe Michael Ackerveld was on this album as well, incorporating those vocals, and I think guitar, I'm not too sure. But this basically is one song that is about 40 minutes. And while this song is fantastic, I love the death metal elements. This is sort of a melodic death metal album, melodic death metal song, you could say. Really some cool elements. I love how they keep the melodies throughout most of these songs, and it just flows like a full song. There are 8 parts of this song. You got Crimson Part 1 all the way to Crimson Part 8. But there are some good parts of the song, like these breakdowns, like these unpredictable moments. Guitar solos as well that are off the hook. Amazing how you can have a 40-minute song be so enticing. There are some really drawing moments that just keeps you into the elements of this song. For this album, it gets a solid 8 out of 10. I loved it. Okay, so the next album I checked out was Lacuna Coil's latest album, Black Anima. Well, okay, so this is sort of a metalcore based album, along elements of maybe death metal as well, but overall I really enjoyed this album. It's a really good album. Reckless is an amazing song along with Layers of Time. I really enjoyed how different this album is. Like, it's very different to Delirium, very different, but it's also got the same elements as Delirium. Those harsh aggressive vocals are still there. Christina's vocals are again stellar in my opinion. Save Me is a great song. The End Is All I Can See is a magnificent song as well. This album flows very well. There are some negative parts of this album as well, like there's some predictable breakdowns, but you get some good guitar tones, good drumming. One of the best Lacuna Coil albums, I've got to say. I think it might be better than Delirium, I'm not too sure. But for this album, probably give this a solid 7 out of 10. It was a very enjoyable album. Okay, the next album was again Opeth, and it was Morning Rise. Wow, okay, so this album is one of the best Opeth albums in my opinion. I absolutely love it. Advent is a fantastic song, along with The Night and the Silent Water. Got Nectar as well, into one of my favourite songs of all time, Black Rose Immortal. What an amazing song it is. It's sort of a black metal atmospheric album. Michael's vocals are just fantastic. They are. Album gets a solid 10 out of 10. Absolutely loved it. So the next album was Pale Communion by Opeth again. This is a very different Opeth album in my opinion. Just love how subtle it is. Sort of an unplugged session. Eternal Rains Will Come is just a great introduction to introduce this album, and what this album is going to do. It's going to put you in a relaxation mood. Moon Above, Sun Below, a magnificent song about Cusp of Eternity as well. River's a great song. Voice of Treason and Faith in Others. What a fantastic end to the album. Album is beautiful. It's a beautiful album. A lot of acoustic parts, a lot of clean parts as well, and also you get some different elements of guitar tones throughout this album. Drums are excellent. Michael's vocals are again fantastic. Beautiful, clean vocals. Solid 9 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. Alright, so the next band I checked out was Sleep and their album The Sciences. Alright, so my friend said this is stoner doom metal, and I can understand why it's stoner doom metal. It's really interesting as well. Like, the lyrics overall are basically drug related, like marijuana and everything like that. But it's a really soothing album as well. There are a lot of doom elements, a lot of drawing guitars, get some nice guitar solos, really awesome clean vocals as well. I'm not too sure about the lyrics though. Lyrics are a bit fucked up. I really did enjoy this album. It actually feels like you're on a high or something like that listening to it, and it's really good sleeping music. Some of these songs go for about 13 minutes, like Sonic Titan as well, and Geezer Butler, along with Antarcticans Forward, which is probably one of my favourite songs on this album. Sleep is a really good band, and I really have to check out more of their stuff. But for The Sciences, I will probably have to give it a solid 8 out of 10. Alright, so the next album I checked out was Seventh Wonder and The Great Escape. This album's good, it is good. There are some really soft parts, there are some quite ballady parts as well, and it's sort of got a power metal, prog metal vibe. Wise Man's a good song, Alley Cat's great, The Angel Maker's good, and then it drops off a bit like King of Whitewater, Long Way Home, and Move On Through. There are some really soft parts of this album. And you got this 30-minute masterpiece, which is one of the greatest Seventh Wonder songs I've heard, which is The Great Escape. The Great Escape's amazing, absolutely amazing song. I I just feel from track 5 to 7 is just a weak link on this album. It's just a build up towards the 13-minute masterpiece, The Great Escape. I understand what they were doing here. There are some really good songs on this album, really good songs. This really reminds me similar to Octavarium. We have some, where you have one of the greatest songs of all time, and you gotta have some mediocre songs. So for this album, probably give it a solid 8 out of 10. Okay, so the next band I checked out was Pallbearer and their album Sorrow and Extinction. Yeah, this album was pretty good. I really did enjoy it. It's got this kind of rock vibe. I wouldn't say it was the best album. It's got this, again, it's doom metal. Devoid of Redemption's a good song. Foreigner's a good song as well. It's just mainly clean vocals. It's rock metal. It's rocky doom metal. Really did enjoy it. The drawing guitars as well. They really hold the chords. It's a solid album in my opinion. Long songs as well. 10 minutes, 12 minutes. It's a solid 7 out of 10. Alright, so the next album I checked out was Melancholy by Shadow of Intent. This album was really good. It's a concept album as well. Barren and the Breathless Macarisms, a fantastic song. Along with Melancholy as well. There are some melodic parts, really melodic parts. You get these really guttural vocals as well, along with the high vocals, which I really do enjoy, the high streaks and fry screams throughout this album. There are some awesome guitar solos. Probably the Dreadic Mystic Abyss is probably my favorite song off the album. It's a really long instrumental. This is a deathcore album, but a deathcore album done right. I really did enjoy the overall story of this album. The Dirge of the Void is another great song, along with Symphony X Odyssey. Amazing songs, along with Gravesinger as well. All these songs are quite melodic and they're quite catchy. They all incorporate those symphonic elements, really replicating maybe Flesh God Apocalypse. This is a lot heavier than Flesh God Apocalypse, but they're on the extreme deathcore, on the extreme metal side as well, incorporating a lot of deathcore. There are some awesome breakdowns throughout some of these songs, unpredictable moments. You're getting some awesome guitar solos. A solid 7 out of 10 for Melancholy. Okay, so the next album, unfortunately, I checked out was Infinite Annihilator and their album, The Battle of Yalabadov, whatever you want to fucking call it. My mate enjoys Infinite Annihilator, and I said, yeah, we'll check him out. So I checked it out, and yeah, I hated it. I really did. Let's move on. There's the best song, Swinecologist. That's an awesome song. Swinecologist is fun song. This album's way too extreme for me. I didn't enjoy it. And for this, I'm giving it a no score. A no score. For me, it's a no score. But for you, you probably think it's an 8 or 9. But yeah, I did not enjoy this album, to be honest. Okay, so the next album was Rhapsody of Fire and the album Triumph of Agony. This is an awesome album. It is. I love the symphonic elements. Love the operatic vocals as well. And the story of it. Talking about elves. Talking about a sword. Talking about one man's possession of a sword. I really did enjoy how good this album was. It was awesome. There are some awesome guitar solos throughout this album, along with some amazing vocals as well. You get some prominent bass, you get some symphonic elements. Incanto dal Vento. Love how they speak Italian throughout this album. And the Mystic Prophecy of the Demon Knight, a 17-minute masterpiece in my opinion. I just love how it just ties the whole story together. Fantastic album in my opinion, loved it. Maybe give it a solid 8 out of 10. Okay, so again, Symphony X, and checked out the Divine Wings of Tragedy. What an amazing album this was. A solid masterpiece of an album. I loved it, really loved it. The Accolade. Beautiful song the Accolade is, along with the Sins and Shadows, Pharaoh, The Eyes of Medusa, all these amazing songs. And then you got the masterpiece, The Divine Wings of Tragedy, which is an amazing song. I reacted to that. This album is very similar to The Odyssey and very similar to The Great Escape by Seventh Wonder, where Symphony X really execute that build up to the song with The Divine Wings of Tragedy. And the next song after that is just an amazing song, is Candlelight Fantasia. What a way to just end the album with The Divine Winds of Tragedy. It's just a stellar song in my opinion, and I absolutely loved it. I love the album overall. The album gets a solid 9 out of 10. It was very enjoyable. Russell Allen's vocals are just fantastic. Again, a prog metal album, but a prog metal album done right, and I loved it. Next album I checked out was Descender by the band Avandra. Wow, okay. What can I say about this band? They're a prog metal band. Imagine Porcupine, Opeth and Dream Theater together. This is what they would sound like. This is a fantastic album. It is. Got some really nice acoustic vibes. You got Beyond the Threshold Part 1 along with Beyond the Threshold Part 2. A two-part song which is just fantastic. Got some awesome guitar solos, melody as well. Got the melodic chorus. His vocals are just fantastic. A Decision Must Be Made is a magnificent song. And A Narrow the Meaning of You, what an amazing song as well. But one of my favorite songs off this album, Adder's Bite, which is just, holy shit, absolutely amazing. The melody on Adder's Bite is just amazing in my opinion. I loved it. Love how melodic it is. I just love how slow building this song is. Introduction, nice introduction, closes off with such a big bang to the song. And then you got Derelict Minds, which features Kevin Moore. You got some really nice keyboard moments by Kevin Moore as well, incorporating that atmospheric vibe. Derelict Minds is fantastic. And then you got QE, which is just incorporates other melodies from different songs. Overall, Avandra Descender gets a solid 9 out of 10. What a way for their debut album. Yeah, Avandra are gonna be a really good band, really great band in my opinion. The next album was Ghost's first album, Opus Impermanent. Wow, okay. So this album is stellar in my opinion. I loved it. So at first I didn't really enjoy it. This was back in 2014. Second time I listened to it again. Okay, so I understand who Ghost are. Ritual is such an amazing song along with Conclave Con Dio. Elizabeth is an amazing song as well, and Satan Prayer, and Genesis, and instrumental to close off the album as well. Wow, okay, so Tobias' vocals are just fantastic, and I just love his vocals. Really love the guitars, the 70s vibe, the 80s vibe you're getting throughout. There are some really satanic lyrics as well, but who cares about the lyrics? This is a really stellar album. Opus Eponymous is such a one of the best Ghost albums in my opinion. Is better than Infest for sure. This is a stellar album. Opus Eponymous gets a solid 9 out of 10. Very enjoyable album. Okay, so the next album was the Vampire Chronicles, Fetus Dis Vampires. Okay, so this was very surprising. This popped up on my Apple Music recommendations, and you know what, I checked it out. This is a sort of a black metal, gothic metal album. There's sort of black metal vocals in it. The shrieks are amazing. You get some really symphonic elements. You get a nice story as well. It's awesome. You get some really nice guitar moments throughout this album. It's a really cool album. It's really cool, and how fast and heavy it is, and how gothic it is as well. Fun album. It's sort of melodic black metal, but it's such an enjoyable experience. It's around an hour, but it's got some really cool moments that you can sing along with. This album gets probably a solid 8 out of 10. The next band was Horner, and their album In Vagtags Eflossuf Iskadtanvni, whatever you want to call it. This is Horner, a Finnish black metal band, and while they do black metal right, incorporate these amazing blast beats. The production overall is pretty good. You get some really nice guitar tones, get some really shrieky vocals as well. It's a stellar album in my opinion. It's very fun, reminds you of bands such as Immortal. It's a fun black metal band, and I really enjoyed Horner. This was a really enjoyable album for what it was. The percussion was amazing, get some really nice drum fills. But Horner, In Vagtags is a fantastic album. Maybe a solid 8 out of 10 I'd give it. So the next band I checked out was 1349 again, and their new album, The Infernal Pathway. Alright, so I might do a full review for this, but this is a fantastic black metal album. Bistos Antithesis is a fantastic song, along with Enter Cold Void Dreaming as well. Amazing songs like Tunnel of Set 9 and Tunnel of Set 10, and then you get Dodge Scamp as well. It's a black metal album, again another black metal album. His vocals are fantastic, production is so damn good in this as well. I loved it, really good. I'm not gonna reveal my score for this one, but it's quite up there. Alright, so the final album I checked out for October was a band called Before the Rain, and their album One Day Less. If you like doom metal or funeral doom, you will like this. It's very similar to Ahab, Swallow the Sun. This band is fantastic. Get some really nice clean vocals, get some really nice harsh aggressive vocals. If you like a mixture of clean, you like the mixture of harsher vocals in doom metal songs, you'll love this. Wounds of Rejection is such a fantastic song, along with You, My Ruin. Paragraph is a really nice talking part, but it really matches along with the instrumentals. Frameless is an amazing song. You get Be Mine, which is about 16 minutes. That's a fucking amazing song as well. Amazing guitar solos. And One Day Less. Oh, that bloody melody on One Day Less. You will absolutely love it. One Day Less is a magnificent album. Before the Rain, what an amazing band they are. Gets a solid 10 out of 10 for me. I loved it. A solid 10 out of 10. Probably the best album I checked out for October. Absolutely loved it. So guys, that's where I leave you. 4 albums I've explored in October. So join me next month for the albums I've explored in November. I'm sure I'm going to have plenty of other albums I'm going to explore. So guys, comment below what albums you are going to check out. So keep discussion going in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next one.